Hey everyone, Maude here from Extra Attackers. Welcome back to my Ottawa Senators GM mode. We just had a brutal first round loss to our rivals, the Montreal Canadiens, in the last episode. It was very frustrating, very disappointing from my virtual Ottawa Senators. So today we're going to be jumping into the off season and then into the next season after that. And I already did my off-season moves, so I'm going to do a little bit of a post-commentary here at the beginning of the video, just kind of running through what I already did to set up this team for next year. There's some interesting things that happened. So first things first, because the Sens are forced to forfeit one of their first-round picks in the next 3 years in real life, I decided to replicate that in the game too. This is the last possible year that we could have given one up, so I waited as long as possible to do it, and we had a pretty good season, so in the end it's not that big of a deal to lose this pick, although it does suck to be missing out on the first round in this year's draft. Since I can't just make the pick disappear entirely, I shipped it off to the Winnipeg Jets. You know, they're in the other conference, so they're not really going to hurt us, and they were already drafting first overall, so I figured they could use a little bit of extra help there. I'll just pretend that the pick that they used was not ours and it was someone else's pick, and you know, they traded away a veteran player to get a mid-round first. So yeah, no first-round pick for us this year, unfortunately. Next, I decided it was time to move on from Joonas Korpisalo. He's not really the future of our goaltending here in Ottawa, even though he did have a good playoff run for us a couple of seasons ago, and he was decent this last year after a rough start. A little bit too inconsistent for my liking, and I have different plans for goaltending on this team. Decided to send him to New Jersey because they're not spending much money at all on their goaltending tandem with Dodge and Smeed. It's not really too solid of a tandem there, so giving them a veteran goalie, and I took Schmid back in the deal even though he's an expiring UFA. Not going to be keeping him, just included him in there so that we could make the cap work for the New Jersey Devils. After that, our first pick in the draft was actually in the third round. Decided to go with this guy, Brad Yip, who had a pretty good scouting report, and he turned out to be a medium top 6 potential center. So that looks like a guy that you easily could get at the late first round, early second round. So for a third round pick, I'm pretty happy with that. That was about it for the draft, and now it's time to re-sign players. We have to re-sign Levi Meriläinen, who was our starter for this season. Cheap contract, we should be able to get him to a bit of a bridge deal, which is nice. Don't have to give him big money yet. Had to sign some prospects, Victor Eklund, a previous first round pick, and Bill Zonen, another previous pick that we had. Both of them looking pretty good, should be playing in Belleville this season. Then after that, we had a bunch of UFAs set to no for a contract renewal, but Matthew Joseph being one of them, you know I had to bring him back. We love Matty Joe, and we just acquired his brother, so I want to keep both of them on the team for at least next season, so I had to give Matty Joe a contract offer. And yeah, P.O. Joseph and RFA had to give him a deal as well, as I just said. So spoiler alert, both of them agreed to these contracts, so the brothers will be back for next season. Baines was another player worth keeping. Scott Lawton was set to no for an extension, but another guy that's just really good for the depth of the bottom 6 in this team, so I had to give him an offer a little bit more than what he was asking for to convince him to stay, but I think it's still more than a fair cap hit, the 2.7-ish million there. He ended up accepting that deal as well. Now this is where things get a little bit interesting. I decided to go to Find Trade and see what offers I could get for Drake Batherson, because with 1 year left on his deal and a disappointing season last year, I wanted to see if anyone was offering anything decent. Kirill Marchenko was a decent offer, Dallas offering some prospects, but then Nashville popped up with the Juuse Saros offer, which was very surprising to me, and I was enticed. I was very interested in this offer, so I decided to do a little bit of negotiations with Nashville here. Now, the thing with Saros is that Nashville has Yaroslav Askarov coming up behind him, and Saros didn't have the best season last year with only a 900 save percentage, but his seasons before that were still really good. And the thing about Askarov is that they have given him a big contract already, so they're not going to be going forward with both Saros and Askarov on big money here. They actually signed Askarov to $7.1 million, whereas Saros is making $7.95 million. So you just can't be doing that with almost $15 million, I think that is. That might be like almost exactly $15 million on your goaltending duo. You can't run your team that way. So Saros is obviously on the trade block, and hey, that's a player that I can't pass up, an elite goaltender. Even though he didn't have the best season last year, I bet he'll bounce back in front of a better team here in Ottawa. So I had to go for it. I had to go for it. Now, I did decide to go back to the Find Trade screen and specifically select Yusei Saros just to see what other potential offers they might accept for him other than just straight up for Batherson. They wanted Eklund, Zub, and Joseph. I didn't like that. We got to hang on to Joseph and Zub. They wanted Norris and Joseph. I didn't want to trade 2 forwards. Or they wanted Greg and Clevin. I think I would rather give up Batherson than Greg, than any of those other guys. Just because Batherson is looking for a new contract after this season, we'll have to give him a pay raise, potentially, and he hasn't exactly been improving in terms of his production. And we have some talent up front that we could afford to lose him for a bit of a defense and goaltending upgrade. So the final trade right here ended up being Drake Batherson with 1 year left, and Maude Sogard I threw into the deal as well because he's been way too up and down for us. He can go be the backup for Askarov in Nashville, hopefully have a decent career over there, and we get the elite goaltender Yusei Saros with 5 years left on an $8 million deal. It's a bit pricey for a goalie, but he should be worth it. And, you know, it is a upcoming UFA in Batherson in exchange for a goalie with lots of term. But the thing is, Nashville wants to get out from under that contract. They could use Batherson up front. He'll fit into their forward core nicely. They can choose to extend him, or if they're not a good team this season, they can flip him at the deadline for more assets. So Nashville is both gaining cap space in this trade, regardless of whether or not they keep Batherson. And even if they move him, even if they end up moving him, then that's even more cap space and they'll get some more assets back. As long as they don't just let him walk in UFA. But if they do that, that's not my fault. That's the AI from EA Sports being stupid if they decide to do that. So it's out of my hands at that point. So yeah, Yusei Saros is an Ottawa Senator and Drake Batherson is no longer. Neither is Maude Sogard. So we're going to have a really interesting goaltending situation coming up this season. Going to be Saros splitting starts with Levi Merilainen. Levi played really well for us last season, but I didn't want to just start playing him like 60 games a year right away. I want to limit him a little bit more so that he's not overworked as a young goalie. And what better way to do that than to acquire one of the best goalies in the league in Saros? So this is going to be interesting to see if Saros performs up to how he should as supposedly one of the best goalies in the league. Then into free agency, I wanted to get a couple of depth players. I was looking through some forwards, almost offered a contract to Michael Bunting, was looking at Kevin Hayes as well, Andrew Mangiapane, but then I saw the Senators legend Jean-Gabriel Pageau in UFA, and I realized that I had to bring him back. I had to bring him back, have a reunion with him and the Ottawa Senators. And his point scoring has dipped a little bit in recent years, but just 2 seasons ago, or 3 seasons ago, I guess, he had a 65-point season in the simulation, so he can still get some points. So here it is, our lineup for the 2026 to 27 season. Gonna stick with the first line of Tkachuk, Stützle, and Pinto. They weren't great in the playoff series against Montreal, but really none of our lines were. So I want to give the best players another chance together. Giroux, Norris, and Demidov on the second line. Demidov gonna get some big ice time in his second season, moving up from the fourth line. Norris shifting back to center just because Pinto had to move up to the wing. And Giroux, 38 years old, his overall's starting to drop a little bit, but he still produces a lot, so I'm going to keep him in the top 6 until he stops producing. The third line, Greg, Lawton, and Joseph. I really like this line. The two-way and pest ability is off the charts. Pretty good speed, too, with Joseph there. And Yarventi, Pageau, Halliday as a fourth line, that could easily be a third line. So any of these players, if we have injuries, can move up and down the lineup as needed, which I really like for the depth of this forward core. And scratched, we also have Cruikshank and Baines who can fill in as well. Then on the D-core, obviously you saw Clevin there is the scratched defenseman. But for the starting 6, we're going back to Chabot and Sanderson. It was an awesome pairing last season, so we got to stick with it. Chychrun and Zub are going to stick together. If I can potentially get better chemistry on this second pairing, I might try to do that. Zub is 1 year left on his deal, so if he doesn't simulate the best this season, maybe we'll move on from him, but we need him for now. If anything, I would bring in a replacement defenseman if I was to move him, which is why I didn't move him in the Saros deal, because I would need another defenseman back right away to fill his spot. And Chychrun as well, like, he doesn't put up too many points in the simulation, which is a little bit annoying, but since we have him signed to a really good contract, which is way cheaper than he's gonna make on his next contract in real life. It's pretty much a steal. So I'm good with them for now, even though they don't have the highest chemistry rating. Hopefully they simulate decently enough. And then Joseph and Barron on the third pairing, I really like that with the +1. And then obviously the goaltending was the big move. Yusei Saros is here, 87 overall with all his X factors and 5 years left on his deal. It's an expensive contract, but I'm hoping that it pays off. A down year for him last year, but his seasons before that are just really good. Just awesome save percentages every year. Even though Nashville isn't the best team, they're kind of on the playoff bubble every year. Let's see, they made the playoffs in 2024-25, and he had a really good stat line there with a 915 save percentage. The other seasons though, they did miss the playoffs, even though he had a 910, that's still pretty good. And then the 900 obviously didn't make the playoffs that year. So they had Askarov coming up, had to move on from him, but hey, we'll take it. We'll take this elite goalie from them. Hopefully he can get back to those elite stats. And Levi Meriläinen, I'm going to make sure that he still gets a decent amount of starts. He started 39 games last year. I'll try to get him back to around a similar number, unless, of course, he somehow simulates way better than Saros, in which case I'll give him more than Saros, and then in which case it's going to look like a bad trade for Saros. So hopefully that doesn't happen, but I didn't want to just run with Meriläinen and Sogard and have Meriläinen just have to play like 60, 70 games if he continues to be way better than Sogard. So I think bringing in Saros is pretty good for now, because we got Meriläinen to a 2-year bridge deal. So if he does outplay Saros over the course of these 2 years, then maybe I flip Saros again for more assets and we go back to Levi as the for sure starter. But for now, I think it's a really good goalie tandem. In real life, you have to have 2 really good goalies to be successful in the NHL. In this game, it's less so. You can kind of just get one really good goalie and play him the whole season, and it's fine. But I still like to have a little bit of a semblance of realism to have 2 really good goalies. So that's my strategy for this season. A couple of players to watch in Belleville. Victor Eklund, a former first-round pick from 2025. He's making his pro debut, or not his pro debut, he was playing in Sweden, but his North American debut on the first line. So he's a potential future player for us. Philippe Daoust is now on the first line here in Belleville. So if he has a good season, he could potentially get some games as a call-up and maybe make the team next year. Kamil Bednarik, he was in Belleville last year, had an okay stat line, but he was a second-round pick from 2 years ago, so another guy who still has a bit of potential to make the team in the next couple of years. Some other veterans there. Let's see this guy, Gazizov. No, he's not interesting. I forgot who he was. Bill Zonin, he was also a second-round pick from 2025, so he is making his pro debut because he was in the QMJHL. That's another guy for the potential future of this team. On defense, Donovan has grown to 76 overall. Maybe he'll get some games as a call-up. Robin Salo, he was just a free agent acquisition. Jinning, yeah. Got some veteran defensemen here. Sabrango, EJ Emery is the other really good prospect. First round pick from 2024. I believe that was with the Detroit/Bruins pick. I think in this game it was just the Bruins pick. Or I don't know how they did it, but EJ Emery, a good right-handed defense prospect. I'm hoping that he can grow. This is going to be his first pro season. He was in college since we drafted him. And in net, we actually do have a really good prospect here coming over from the KHL. Andreanov, I believe is how you would pronounce this. 905 save percentage in the KHL last year with a really good win and loss record. 78 overall medium elite. So I know we just acquired Saros, and I'm hoping he does really well for us, but we have backup plans. So if Saros doesn't end up doing great, we have this kid coming up, and we still have Meriläinen as well. So I really like our depth at goaltending. You always want to have backup plans because goalies are kind of voodoo, and they could be really good or really bad in any given year. It can happen to anyone. And Damian Slavik, I think he was playing in Belleville last year. Yeah, 910 save percentage. Pretty good stats from him as well. Also 78 overall. So that's 2 really good goalies in the AHL. There might be some decisions to make next year if we keep all of these guys, because obviously Saros is the number 1. For now, we'll see how he performs. But these guys are going to keep growing in overall. So we might eventually have too many goalies that are capable at the NHL level, but maybe we can leverage some of them in a trade. Maybe get a good return for one of the rookie goalies and get a good veteran addition to the team, or another young player at another position. Or, again, if Saros isn't good, because who knows, he might sim bad, then I got these guys as a backup plan. So I'm happy with that. You want to have really good depth at all positions. So, yeah. I think we'll just jump into the season simulation now. I'm excited to see how this team does this year. So first game of the year with Jussi Saros in net against the Buffalo Sabres. How are we going to do? We get Ivan Demidov with a mild concussion in the first game, and I don't even get to see the fucking result of the game on the screen. 5-4 overtime loss. That's not great for Saros in his very first game, not gonna lie.
A few moments later.
So, November 21st here, we have a good record, but I swear we've allowed like 60 goals in the last 10 games. Like, amazing stats from our fucking goalies here. Sometimes this simulation just baffles me, because the defense is good on paper, the goalies are high rated, and yet just an insane amount of goals against out of nowhere. Merilainen has the better win-loss record and slightly better save percentage, but it's not like it's good. It's not very good at all. Like, what's with the plus-minus? Chabot is +1, Sanderson -4, second pairing is fine. What the fuck? Okay, everyone's plus-minus is fine. I'm gonna get P.O. Joseph back in the lineup. He was injured. So everyone's plus-minus is fine, but our goalie stats are terrible, which leads me to believe that the penalty kill is terrible. And I mean, 11-5-2, that's a good record, but look at these recent games. 5-2 loss, 7-5 win. Fucking 5-2 loss over here, 5-4 win, 7-5 win with an 8-1 loss and a 7-1 loss. Insane amount of goals against in the last few games. So this needs to improve. I do not understand our stats right now. It's got to be the penalty kill, right? If none of the defensemen are minuses. 3.72 goals for per game, best in the division. But then 3.56 is not very good at all, is it? The power play is great, second in the division. Yeah, 65% penalty kill. Are you on crack? What the fuck? That's got to be like. Let me sort by the whole league. That's got to be bottom 5 in the entire league. Yeah, holy crap. 4th last in the entire league on the penalty kill. I'm speechless. How? And if we go to our penalty kill lines, like Joseph, Lawton, Sanderson, Zub, I feel like that should be pretty good. Pajot, Greg, Chabot, Chikrin, like, it's not the highest in terms of chemistry. We don't have like +5 on all the penalty kill units, but it's good players. It's good. Like Pinto is high rated on the 3rd line penalty kill. You got an 88 there, and you got other good two-way forwards on the other ones. So penalty kill lines are just fucked. Like what? How should I change it? What should I do here? Like maybe Ridley Gregg onto the first one. That will become a +3. That's better. But then this one is gonna be worse. It's not that much worse though. Crookshank fits, but he's not high rated. What if we put like Brady Tkachuk? Does he fit? Let's put Brady Tkachuk, just like stack the penalty kill. We would get a plus. This would become a plus if I put Chikrin or Chabot. Maybe put Chikrin here. Then you have Barron and Chabot. Maybe we might need to trade for a defenseman who fits the penalty kill lines better, because other than Sanderson with the green check, Zub is a red X, Barron is a red X, Chabot with the yellow, Joseph at X, and Chikrin a yellow. It's not that much different from last year, where obviously our penalty kill was fine, but it's simming like such ass right now that it needs to be better. So maybe I'll have to do something. But for now, I'm gonna keep simming and just pray that it gets better. Let's see these. 901 for Merilainen, 893 for Saros. I should just never trade for a goalie again. It's apparently it's not worth it. They will just suck ass no matter what, apparently. Saros broken ankle. Is he close to 900 save percentage yet? 898. Look at that improvement. Beautiful. Fucking his record is pretty good, but 898. worse than last year, even worse save percentage than last year, even though his GAA is better. So he's on a better team, allowing less goals, and yet he's allowing more shots than last year. That's pretty bad. Meriläinen gonna be the starter. Once again, I guess it's time to play Meriläinen more than Saros already. That didn't take very long to be a stupid fucking trade, didn't it? Oh my god. Alright, here we are at the trade deadline. A record of 35, 21, and 6 is somehow first in our division. I didn't really think that we were going to be in first place. I'll take a look at the other divisions here and see if we would be lower in those ones. We would be third in the Metro. We would be first in the Pacific. And we would be third in the Central. So our division's a little bit weaker, but our record is still good overall, despite us allowing like over 3 goals per game on average. I'm going to take a look at how the team stats have changed since that early season check-in. So goals for per game is still really good. Yeah, the goals against per game, 3.13 is not good. Like, somehow that's second best in our division, but like, where is it just a really high scoring year? Because yeah, I guess only a few teams allow less than 3 goals a game, which is pretty crazy. You would think that having a goalie like Saros would help you out with that, but apparently not. I guess we're in the top half for goals against, but it feels like not. It doesn't feel very good to be allowing more than 3 a game. Like, if we want to win the cup, we definitely got to be better than that. The power play has fallen off a little bit, but 20.9% is not too bad. Penalty kill definitely improved. It's still bad, but it hasn't improved in terms of the ranking. It's still bottom 10, but at least the percentage is better. It's not below 70 anymore, so at least there's that. Maybe I'll trade for a defenseman here at the deadline to help the penalty kill. But let's take a look at the individual player stats. Stützle having a good season. Norris having a very good season since I moved him up to the first line. Tkachuk doing decent. Giroux, amazing as always for his age. Shabbat, oh yeah, let me filter just by forwards. So really, Greg is somehow doing amazing on the third line. He had a hot start to the season, and he still has a really good points per game pace. Demidov is doing okay on the second line. I was kind of hoping for a little better, but for a sophomore season, this is pretty good. He's almost got as many points as he did in all of last year. Much better shooting percentage too, so the kid's improving. It's not bad at all. Pinto has been disappointing. I started him on the first line, and he wasn't that great. And his points pace going back down to the second line is definitely worse than it was last year. His shooting percentage is way down. I guess 16.8 wasn't going to be sustainable. I feel like 10.5 is like about more what you would expect. I hope he at least hits 20 goals on the year, because we need like a consistent 20 goals out of him every year, I think. Since the penalty kill isn't doing so great, maybe I should move him up higher to like the first unit on the penalty kill, because those defensive stats are still really good for him. So maybe we should change his usage a little bit. Joseph has really good numbers on the third line. Lawton, decent. Halliday, rookie on the fourth line, he's doing fine. Cruikshank. Pajot has been a bit of a disappointing signing. I know he's on the fourth line. He's not going to get that much ice time, but he kills penalties. I was hoping for a little bit more production. I would hope he could get maybe to 30 points, but it doesn't look like he's going to. But we love JG Pajot, so I'm not going to be too harsh on him. But I did sign him to a 3-year deal, so hopefully he can put up a little bit more points in the future. Yarventi's been in and out of the lineup. He was 28 points last year. His points pace isn't bad. It's just been moving things around to get, like, Cruikshank has been quite good, so I plugged him in there. But maybe I should put Yarventi back in now, because Cruikshank has kind of stopped producing. The defensemen, Shabbat and Sanderson are now minus. What the hell is this? What is this plus minus? Zub is plus 37. And his D pair, his D partner is plus 17. How is he 20 pluses better than everyone else? What the fuck is that? And, you know, third pairing is doing okay, but the first pairing is a minus. What the hell is this shit, man? And Sanderson is back to just not producing points. 12 power play points last year. He only has 3 so far. What the hell? Okay, Decor needs a shake-up for sure. But the thing is, I would have replaced Zub ideally to someone who would give me more chemistry, but He is plus 37 somehow. That makes no sense. How is this stat distribution even possible? To have your best defensemen are your minuses. Your second pair has a 20-point discrepancy in plus minus. This game makes no fucking sense. And then the goalies, of course, Saros is being mid as hell. About as he was last year. I was hoping he would be able to get back to like a 9-10 save percentage. It hasn't happened. He's currently injured, so Merrilainen has played more of the games recently, and he's doing pretty good, a 908. Not quite as good as last year, but still pretty good. We win most of the games when he's in net. Although, could be better. You would really hope that Saros could turn things around when he comes back from injury. I need to look at plus minus for the whole league, because how the hell is Zub? He's just the defensive god. And last year he was a -2. So this shit makes no sense. What the fuck am I? What am I seeing here? Let's see the best. Is he the best plus minus in the league? He is the best. He's just ahead of Gaudreau, Nichushkin. He's way ahead of everyone. Max Gannett is plus 30 on the Rangers. Oh my god. Should have kept him. I should have kept him around. Just play Gannett and Zub together, and that would be the best D pairing in the league according to the plus minus. That's crazy. Let's see Batherson's point production on Nashville.
Bruh.
Oh god, he's leading their whole team in points. Hey, I mean, guess that means that was a good trade for them, but 4 power play points out of 58 points. He has 54 even strength points. This simulation is so crazy. Their power play sucks ass, but they score on 5v5 a lot. So hey, good trade for Nashville, I guess. Not the best trade for me at the moment. Askarov is of course doing way better than Saros is. The GAA is not better, but the save percentage is much better, and Maude Sogaard doing pretty decent as their backup as well. I wish that if Yusei Saros had a 907 save percentage, I'd be pretty content with that. I have to say, I do have to say that. So yeah, Drake Batherson. Definitely, he's bouncing back to more his typical production. Only 11 goals last year was weak, and why I didn't really want to re-sign him. And also with the 17 power play points, seemed like a bit of a PP merchant, getting the power play assists for a lot of his points. But he's scoring at even strength for Nashville, so you know, they should probably re-sign him. He's leading their whole team in points. It would be a little bit weird if they let him walk to free agency, but hey, maybe he will go to free agency, get a big payday, and then the trade won't look so bad for me. If Nashville extends him to a good contract, and I'm gonna go see if they gave him an extension. If they extend him to a good contract and he keeps producing well for them, and I have to move on from Saros, it's gonna look like a fat L for me with that big trade. Oh, they did extend him. That's interesting. So he's almost doubling his salary, going from 4.8 million to 8.6 million, which is a huge jump. And let's see how many years this is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 years at 8.6 million. So expensive, I'll have to say. If I had to pay him 8.6 million, I don't think I would have, which is the main reason I made the trade. That's a higher cap hit than Yusei Saros. So even if Saros isn't doing that well, if we were to extend Batherson, we'd be spending more money, most likely. So, but the 4-year term, though, for them is pretty good. That's pretty team-friendly. So if his production drops, they don't have him locked in for 8 years, which is good. But I might have taken an L. It seems that Nashville is making out like bandits so far in that trade, with Batherson currently being their leading scorer and Yusei Saros not doing particularly good for me. But yeah, like, I don't think I'll touch the forward core. I think they're doing well enough overall. We score more than enough goals. D-core needs to be better, especially with Chabot and Sanderson being a +4 together. They're just seeming way worse than they were last year. Like, from +32 to -2 for Chabot, even though he's still getting a lot of points, the defensive ability is just not there. And Sanderson from +36 to -10. How do you get that much of a swing in between years from -11 to +36 to -10? Like, this game makes no sense. I don't even know what to do at this point with this stupid simulation. And oh my god. And now, not to mention Zub +37. It's like, okay, maybe I'll replace him. No, he's just, apparently you cannot touch him. He is God. He is God this season. Maybe I should just change the D pairings instead of, like, trading anyone away. but you won't get better chemistry than the +4 there. Like, maybe Chychrun and Sanderson for +3. Chabot and Zub maybe, but I don't know. You can also do Chychrun and Chabot together for a couple of +1s. Maybe I'll go with that for now, but I might trade for a defenseman at the deadline is the thing, because the third D pair has only been okay. Like, Joseph, he had 8 points in 21 games for us last year, only 7 in 53 so far this season. He is a +9, which is very good, but you would hope for a bit more offense there. And he's injured, but Justin Barron has just been okay on the third pairing, -3, 11 points. Like, he's a good depth guy, but maybe we should get someone better for a playoff run. I know that he's one of the guys that got last year to improve the depth for a playoff run, but we can improve the depth even more. We got to be even better and improving every year. So maybe I should trade for a defenseman. I think that's where I'm going to leave it for this video, but if you have any suggestions on what I should do with my lines or anything like that, leave a comment down below. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe to Extra Attackers if you want to see more episodes of this GM mode. Thanks for watching.